Yep.
Hi, Stephanie. So
Hi.
good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you. Just I run through quickly. I'm sure Stephanie is coming up with an engaging session. She's the chief chaos engineer at Entelechy, with a unique approach to fostering collaboration and innovation. Helping humans thrive in this AI-driven world. Her talk's going to be helping the humans in AI world, creating a knowledge sharing culture that'll uncover practical strategies to build a culture that prioritize human creativity, adaptability. You'd hear about knowledge sharing and then this rise of AI era when everybody's talking about AI. So, Stephanie, I'd like you to take it forward from here.
Great. Thank you. And there. Everybody can see that, I hope.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So yeah, thank you. And thank you for everyone online for hanging in from, I don't know, a couple of hours ago. So hopefully this kind of ties together some of the ideas that the other speakers have shared with us and puts a little different spin on things, but also a focus, like I say, some of the other speakers on humans in this equation. After all, knowledge is human. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to ask you to suspend your judgment. I'll take some questions at the end, as the other speakers have. So put them, but feel free to put them in the Q&A or in the chat window as we go. I've made a couple of assumptions for my presentation today, just about the importance of knowledge strategy, which a couple of the other speakers have spoken about it as well. So hopefully that's not a big leap, in the importance of having a strategy and aligning it with the business objectives and vision. So with that said, oh, hang on, sorry. Sorry. uh, with that said, I'm going to invite you to get comfortable. Hopefully, no one's out walking or driving or anything like that. Hopefully, everyone's at an office, either at home or in an actual office building. And I'm going to invite you to get comfortable and take a slow, deep breath and close your eyes. Now, if you are someplace that you're not able to do that, just pay attention to the words and don't worry about all the visualization and things that I'm going to go through in the next couple of minutes. So again, take a slow, deep breath and close your eyes. Picture in your mind's eye a small and delicate flower floating gently inside your skull, just behind the bone of your forehead. Notice the flower's color, its shape, the pattern of its petals. Let the flower drift slowly downward, gliding gently down your throat into your rib cage. Drifting down and down between your lungs, downward, gently downward, coming to rest in the lowest place in your abdomen, the place where your breath reaches when you breathe fully and deeply. Quiet touch of color deep in the darkness of your abdomen. Hold the flower there. Hold it. Hold it. Now let it go. Let the flower vanish. But stay focused on the place where it was, deep down in the dark center of you. Focus on the darkness. Now, when you're ready, and only when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into our virtual room. Well, thank you. If you'd like to share some thoughts, some reflections in the chat window, please feel free to do that. Um, I like to start my sessions off with this visualization or one of the other ones that I have in my library, just to help us get grounded and get centered, and on a day like today to help us, catch our breath after hearing so many other wonderful presentations earlier. And so, yeah, taking a moment to pause and reflect and just, like I say, catch our breath. So, um, so thank you for doing that with me today. So now I would like to introduce you to Samantha. Samantha's been a knowledge manager for about 10 years, and she has a problem. Her KM strategy just isn't working anymore. 10 years ago when she first wrote it, and as she's updated it over the years, it's been good. It's stayed aligned to the business and the culture and things, and she's been satisfied with it. And more importantly, her boss has been satisfied with it. Um, but it just she's feeling like there's something missing. So she's been using this book. It came out about 10 years ago, and she still really likes it. There's still a lot of really good relevant information in it, but like I say, she just feels like there's something missing. She's not quite sure what, but uh, you know things have changed in the last 10 years, and she's trying to figure out how to adjust to that with her knowledge management strategy. So she's finding people are really stressed out and worried, the ongoing pandemic and people's health and all this, where they're allowed to work from and all that kind of stuff going on. Connections have been broken because there's been all this turnover, and there's this lack of sense of belonging. People don't know each other. Um, there's this, sense of lack of purpose or meaning in what they're doing. And there's all this misinformation being generated, and they don't know who to believe or what to believe, and they feel like they're spending so much time trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong and what they should believe, and they're just overwhelmed. And there's this real lack of empathy and compassion because of all of these other things that are going on. And so she's trying to really figure out how she can help the organization and help her colleagues and things, and what she might be able to do with the knowledge management strategy to help. And so she's looking for new ideas to address this current situation. So she's going to all kinds of conferences and webinars and presentations, talking to all kinds of people, combing through her LinkedIn feed and social media feeds to see what ideas are out there, and trying to figure out how to deal with the situation. And she's come across some interesting ideas, but nothing's really clicked until recently, and we'll get to that in a minute. And Samantha, though, is a big believer in lists. She loves a good list, and she's got several lists that she's shared with me for this presentation. So this is one of the lists that she made, in trying to gather information and do her research. She thought, I need to make a list of the challenges that I'm facing. So this is the list that she shared with me around knowledge sharing and needing to be more innovative, but also on the really personal side, wellness, and sustainability, sustainable activities as in the organization, not just about recycling, but how to be more sustainable with their people practices and more effective as teams. All of these things, and I'm sure that many of you have seen these challenges in your organization. So this is the things that she's trying to find a solution for. And the short way of looking at this is she's really trying to help the humans. Um, the technology is nice; it's a tool, but it's the humans that make a difference in all of this. So and this got her to thinking, well, what are humans good at? So of course, like I say, Sam loves a good list. And so she made this list about what humans are good at: creativity, generating new ideas, thinking outside of the box, emotional intelligence, empathy, all kinds of things that humans are really good at. And she feels like a lot of these things are things that have sort of declined over the last few years. And so she's looking for solutions that might help the humans in her organization do these things better and revitalize these things. And so in her research, she discovers that, one of the authors of the book that she's been using for the last 10 years has this idea about radical KM. And radical KM is this idea of using, both creativity and analytics and continuous learning and arts-based interventions to really build out and strengthen and re-energize all of the things that make us human. And so she's really curious about this, and the vision that gets presented in the articles that she's read. The vision for KM is sustainable and holistic. Being efficient and effective is great, but sustainable and holistic just really connects with her and the problems that she's facing in her organization. So she's really excited about this idea of arts-based interventions and as a process and an activity within the KM program, and something that she can help people get facilitated and trained on so that they can do them with their teams and across the organization. And it's ultimately about making space to reflect, much like we did there at the beginning with the visualization, just to pause and reflect and to think and to iterate, what's the next question I should ask? I might not know the question 3 or 4 questions from now, but what's the next question that I need to ask right now? How can I experiment and find the best solution? Um, you know, it helps with the creativity, and so she's really kind of thinking that this might be onto something here. She was a little bit nervous when she heard the word arts-based interventions. She confided that in me, and then she realized that it's really more than just painting. The last time she did any painting was paint by numbers when she was 8 years old, and this kind of scared her. Um, but she found that it's more than just painting. It's drawing, it's doing improv, which she loves. She took an improv class to help her with her public speaking and presentation skills, and she loved it. It's music and it's poetry, and all these other things. So this really wide definition of arts-based intervention. So when she found that out, she's a little bit more relaxed about the whole idea of arts-based intervention, and maybe this is something that she could do. She, loves taking photography, doing photos with her iPhone. She took a iPhone photography class that she learned a lot about how to take amazing pictures with her iPhone. So she's excited about maybe incorporating that into some of what she's doing. And so, she knew one of the things that her boss was going to ask her and that she needed to be prepared for about why use arts-based methods, why bring art into organizations. Art is for other people, is for other situations. It's for kids, it's for people that have gone to art school. It's not for the average person. And so what she is preparing to tell her boss is that it's about changing behaviors and culture change, and changing our behaviors leads to culture change. And so this is what why to bring in arts-based methods, because it helps enable this culture change that needs to take place within the organization. Arts-based interventions are experiential, so they're not just something that we think about in our heads. We actually have the experience of them, and that means it provides the opportunity to interrupt routines and institutionalize ways of working and get us out of those comfort zones and those, same old, those same old patterns that aren't going to lead us anywhere. And the best thing is they're collaborative. So they encourage trust and respect and knowledge sharing, which, is key within the organization with the pace of change and things that are going on. So she's really excited about that aspect of it. Um, and to go along with Sam's idea of lists and things, she makes up this table about the problems that AI, or sorry, not that AI, that arts-based interventions solve, um, and the symptoms and the how the ABI solves it. So this no sense of purpose and meaning that seems so prevalent in her organization, and what that looks like, this disengagement and broken connections and things. The using arts-based interventions helps build the team and build communication and helps create and connect people within themselves into their intuition, and helping them know what's important and helping them to connect to others. So lots of benefits really comes out of arts-based interventions on all aspects of the problems that she's dealing with. So she's again really excited about the potential here. Um, and like I said, she realized that going through all this stuff, that it's really a creating a knowledge sharing culture. It's a cultural issues. It's not just one area like innovation or knowledge creation or collaboration. It's not just one thing that needs to be fixed. It's a whole culture, because the culture, fixing the culture, all those other things are going to get fixed and get resolved as a result of that. So and just to, kind of reassure herself that she's on the right path, she goes back to the ISO standard and pulls out the what they have to say about the knowledge sharing culture, and she looks it over, and like I said, makes a list. And like I said, this one actually came from the ISO standard. And she again has some confidence that this is really the right direction, that this is what she's wanting to do. This is what's deteriorated over the last few years, is the cultural aspects of things, and helping people feel comfortable openly discussing issues and offering advice and asking questions, um, and creating this ability to have conflict and talk about things that are maybe contentious and come out to a solution that everyone's happy with, and not really requiring that it's the boss's way or the highway, that there is a middle ground that meets everyone's needs. So she's excited about all these possibilities that she can help bring to the organization by creating this kind of culture. And the knowledge lifecycle has been a big part of Sam's KM program, and so she goes back to the life cycle and thinks about where creativity and arts-based interventions potentially has a place in the process, from that knowledge creation at the beginning to archiving and deleting things at the end, or forgetting things at the end. And there's a couple of places certainly at the beginning in that knowledge creation, and in the middle where there's some refinement and things going on, and that she is really feels like this is a good place for some key places for interaction and arts-based interventions. So Sam, along with her love of lists, likes a good flow chart. So she mapped out this flow chart about where creativity fits in KM processes in general. And she really realized in mapping this out that anywhere people are coming together, there's an opportunity for people to use an arts-based intervention. It could be something small like the guided visualization that we did at the beginning, or a scribble drawing, or create a haiku. Do something quick that takes 5 minutes or 10 minutes, so an improv game. Or sometimes, they do longer meetings, like a 2-day strategy meeting. And so, she's excited about maybe doing a bigger intervention in those cases, maybe actually doing some painting, and see what comes out of that, what magic happens then. So she's excited about these ideas, and is feeling better with all her lists and her process flows and things, that there really is. This isn't maybe so far-fetched as she first thought. That this really might be the silver bullet. She's hesitant to say silver bullet, but she kind of thinks there's a lot of possibilities here on a number of use cases, and so she's really quite excited about this. She is a little bit hesitant, though, a little bit fearful. Bringing art into her organization, which is filled with engineers and lawyers, she's a little bit, hesitant around. So this is a bit outside of her comfort zone, even though she's read all the research and gone to a couple of sessions, short introductory sessions, and did the online white belt course. She was happy about doing that. But she's a little bit fearful about what her boss is going to say, what her colleagues are going to say, and so she makes up another list to figure out, how to feel the fear and do it anyway, because she's having read the research and things and had some of these experiences. She really feels like this is a good way forward. So she recognizes that it's normal to be a little bit afraid, and to put some things in place, put some supports in place, talk to some of her KM team, maybe get them on board, um, you know, break things down into realistic expectations, smaller steps, not trying to boil the ocean, all at the beginning. Um, when she started her KM strategy originally 10 years ago, she did a lot of sort of guerrilla small pilots under the radar and tried things out until she got some momentum. And she's thinking maybe that's a good approach with the arts-based intervention stuff. So she's got some strategies, some activities she's going to do to help her, keep going even when she's feeling a little bit uncertain and fearful about this new way of doing things. And like I say, starting small is key to that. And she started small with her KM strategy 10 years ago. She's thinking this is probably a good way to move forward um, now with the arts-based interventions and radical KM. So she recognizes that culture change is a marathon that's not going to be done in a week or a month or even 3 months. It's a year-long process. It's a 3-year process. It's a 5-year process. She's working for a large organization. It's going to take some time to roll it out. And so she needs to prepare both her KM team for that idea, that this is a long-term initiative. It's not a sprint. It's not going to be, a low-hanging fruit. It's something that's going to take some time and small steps. But they will get there. Perseverance pays off in situations like this. So she's thinking about, the conversations she needs to have with her boss. And so she gets ready to get down to work. And so she creates, thinks about where she's going to add or update to her strategy. She starts planning the implementation, defining the resources she needs, updating the processes, um, looks at educating the implementation team and some key stakeholders, her boss for sure, the governance committee, and starts thinking about the change management, transformation plan that she needs to put in place, and the communication, training, all these supporting materials. So she's got a lot on her mind, and making some more lists. Um, as she started on her first task, she came across this quote, and she knew she was on the right path. The real danger is not that computers will begin to think like humans, but that humans will begin to think like computers. And she thought, I'm already starting to see some of this stuff. People just accept what the chat GPT spits out at them and they don't think critically about it. And we're ignoring our humanity and our compassion and empathy, and we need to really, reinvigorate that. And so she just, like I say, when she read this quote, she really thought, I'm on the right path because I'm helping the humans. I want to help the humans. And so if you want to know more, reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm based in Berlin at the moment. I'm moving back to Canada in the next week, actually. But so that's my German number. It will still find me in Canada. Um, and yeah, those are my LinkedIn and Calendly. But feel free to book a virtual coffee with me. I partner with Ondex on the technology side of things when it makes sense. So take a look at their website too if you like. And that's it. I think I'm
Thanks,
good on.
Stephanie. We've got some questions lined up.
Okay,
If you can
let me go to the
move to the Q&A
Q&A.
tab and you'd find it. The first one starts with Nathan, I think.
Okay,
Nate.
so
So,
yeah, what are
yeah.
some practical steps to foster a knowledge sharing culture that embraces both human expertise and AI? Um, put the AI down and go out for a walk. Um, yeah, in all seriousness, I mean, I'm laughing, but our fascination with AI is going to kill us. And I'm serious when I say that. I'm extremely concerned about some of the stuff I see happening with AI. So put it down, go and talk to your colleagues, go for a walk, paint, take a picture, do something creative, reinvigorate your soul. I know that's not a popular thing to say in KM, but do something that feeds your soul. That will help you deal with the challenges that are being posed by AI and this fascination with technology. We need to reinvigorate ourselves. And so step away from the computer and do something that feeds your soul. Um, I know that's probably not the answer you want to hear, but that's the answer I'm going to give you. um, Next, Mandy says, what role do leaders play in creating a culture where both AI and human knowledge are equally valued? Leadership is key. And this is something that's sadly lacking. And a lot of people get it confused, think leadership's about command and control. And leadership's really, you can be a leader and you can be a frontline employee with no direct reports, because it's not about a place in the hierarchy, it's about behaviors. And the best way to be a good leader is to lead by example. So when I say things like go for a walk, as a leader, I'm going to go for a walk. I want my team to see me going for a walk. I'm going to maybe take my team with me on a walk or invite them to come and do a little painting activity with me, or do some poetry with me. Or, I'm going to do those things that help build them as human beings, and let them know that that's okay. I've worked with clients here in Berlin that they set up a little arts corner in one of the one of their open spaces, and so that they could go and do that, during the day just to take a break. It was something different than a lot of the startups here in Berlin have, foosball tables and whatever. So it was just another alternative to those. But as a leader, you need to walk the talk. And so if you're saying this stuff is important, then you need to show that it is. Um, oh, the ISO standards. The ISO standard came out in 2018. It's 30401. Um, I think it's actually in the process of being updated. So it's about 20 pages long, and it sets up an outline for some definitions and some high level processes about how to create a knowledge management system. So yeah, it's there, but it's 30401 is the number. So as AI tools become more widespread, how can we ensure that employees still feel empowered to contribute their insights and experiences? Again, it comes back to what I was just saying about leadership and making sure that people feel like they have the time, and that they're allowed, that it's safe to say, you know what, this doesn't feel good to me. This answer, this direction, this decision that's got made, I'm seeing some problems with it, or I have some concerns with it. It's about creating the psychological safety that Rajesh mentioned, a few minutes ago, so that people have that feel like they can, and that there's not this push to be ever more efficient and effective, that they're make sure that they know that they're not in a race against the computer, that we're never going to win the race on technology. The What humans need to do is slow it down there was a book couple of years ago, something about slowing down to speed up. I forget the title of it right at the moment, but it's that idea to slow down and pause and think about things. So make sure as a manager, as a leader, as a team member, that you're being purposeful about that and saying, you know what, I need to think about this. This doesn't feel right to me, and share that with the team, communicate that with the team. Um, so that they know, and be I liked what Sarah said in her talk about being transparent, tell people that you want to know when they're using the tools so that you can take extra care that this information is accurate, because it does hallucinate, and there is bias, and there are issues inherently in that technology, and so make sure that there's a lot of conversation and communication around that. Um, how do you see AI enhancing or hindering knowledge sharing in teams, and how can we strike the right balance? I I see it in a lot of ways hindering knowledge sharing, because it stops people from having the discussions. The go and ask the AI bot, the question, instead of sending a message to one of their colleagues, and miss out on the richness of that exchange, that happens in talking to another human being. Not only do you get the benefit of their experience, but you create that trust and that relationship with this other human being. And so when you have a problem that maybe you're not getting a good answer out of the AI bot, you have somebody that that you can say, hey, have you ever found this, or have you ever had this experience? Those relationships are important, and this is one of the things. Everybody's so buried in their phones, um, and we've forgotten how to communicate and talk to each other, and relate to each other, and to have difficult discussions, and so the AI I feel like, is really hindering it, in a lot of ways. If we're still saying that, and I certainly am saying, knowledge is human, then we need to do more to help build the human side of it, and put the technology back where it belongs as a tool. How can organizations mitigate the risk of bias induced by AI systems while promoting equitable knowledge sharing? So be conscious about what's going in. It's a question of garbage in, garbage out. That's at scale. Certainly, when we get talking about AI and large language models, and things that are going on in the world with technology, um, and make sure that you know. I make sure that you're aware. So much of it is awareness and transparency, and making space for questions, and paying attention to who is feeding information, what are the sources, and are they trustworthy, and what bias is embedded in them, and this whole, be very thoughtful about it. Yeah, just be, I don't know. I think that's about as good as I'm going to give you today. Sorry. Anything else?
I don't see any other questions that have come up, but uh, there was one question that was about ISO standards. Rajesh has given us the link, and anonymous attendee, I have put that link for you as a reply to your question, so you can find it on chat as well as under the Q&A. Thank you, Rajesh.
Great, thanks.
And so I'd like to thank you, Stephanie, for joining us today.
Oh, you're
That
welcome.
was
Thank you.
very kind of you.